Alrighty, so we'll jump straight into it here. So Fady, tell us a little bit more about your real estate journey before you came across Agent Launch Hub and before we even started really working together.
Yeah, thanks, John. I really appreciate it. I've been actually doing real estate for almost 4 years now. When I first started, I have actually tried the Facebook ads myself. I was doing them myself for about a year or so, and it was really like there was no sense of direction. I was just kind of pray and spray kind of thing, or spray and pray, whatever you want to call it, and like basically calling every single leads that come in. And on average, I was getting maybe 150, 200 leads a month, which was insane. But having to go through and sift through those leads and really just kind of figure out like if they're actually buyers or not, it used to be very, very, very time consuming. Like we would be spending, sometimes 3 to 4 hours a day just calling those leads to try to get to one person, maybe booking, two people, maybe booking. And then even then, the quality wasn't really that great, even when you book them. And then I started kind of looking around and, kind of put it on hold for a bit. I was doing the door knocking for a bit. I was doing the Instagram ads here and there. They do work, but it's not as good as, this year. So when we came on board, I was really trying to get back into the Facebook ads and this and that, but I wanted to do it in such a way where it's a little bit more somebody managing it for me, a little bit easier for me, just take it off my plate. And in that between time, I've had another agency that was managing it and it was working really well. But we're getting a bit busy pretty quick, so I just kind of put it aside and canceled it with them. But it wasn't as good as what you guys have here in terms of like the videos, the whole sort of academy. Just being able to kind of keep going back at it with the client with the whole retargeting as well too. So we found, and then when we shifted a little bit, we started adding surveys, we started tweaking it a little bit more, and we started doing a lot of the A/B testing, which to me is the only way that you really can see the power of marketing. You want to try one pitch, you can roll a pitch, and we'll kind of see how that goes. The quality of the leads have been phenomenal. Like we're not getting a lot of leads, we're getting a good chunk, maybe 15 to 20 leads a month. But out of those 15 to 20, we're booking at least a good five to 5 to 7 every month. And that to me is fantastic. The 5 to 7 meetings that you did not have, you don't have to go out and knock on doors. You don't have to work out in the cold. It's really the fastest way to get in front of clients, at least in my opinion. And those people are like very, very close to their buying journey. They're within 2 to 3 months out, 6 months out at the most. So, and that's actually one of the reasons why we decided to do the survey, because we wanted to kind of filter out anybody that's not necessarily looking at real estate in the next 12 months. If you're not looking at it, it's just a waste of your time, my time. You want the list, no problem. Realtor.ca has it. But here, we want the people that are actually going to need our help, the folks that are, first-time home buyers that are going to be needing that hand holding through the process. And with having those 5 to 7 meetings, we're now able to do at least 1 to 2 deals a month using this, and it's very nominal. Like when you look at the cost, what it takes to get that, it's very, very nominal. It's almost like we're talking about maybe $100 a deal in total. $100 a deal, I'd be paying that all day long if I'm able to do a good 5 or 6 deals a month. So right now we've expanded a little bit on it. We've added the retargeting, which is also something that we think is phenomenal because we've built a good book of business for the last 6 months. We've had those people coming in. They are doing some of the courses. They're going through the academy. So even the ones that are not necessarily 100%, like I said, 6 months out, maybe 12 months out, we're still bringing those folks in, but we're putting them into like some sort of a campaign with the academy where they can actually get a little bit more understanding what the buying process looks like and things like that. And then we're retargeting, we're coming back at them full circle with the retargeting so we can stay ahead and we can be right in front of them when the time comes, which is phenomenal because it gives us that sort of like omniscience feeling, like we're pretty much omnipresent everywhere they look at. They see their ad, they see the videos that we have, they see that we're in real estate, we're doing a lot of good things for the community, and it's kind of now it's starting to kind of pay off a little bit. We're starting to see people that 6 months ago when we first started the program, they came in and they put a nice quick little message asking for that list, and we just never heard from them. Now those people are coming back and saying like, hey, I'd love to kind of connect with you and take a look. We were checking actually just before this, we were checking one of our clients, taking a look at the academy, and he's already 30% of the way there. And this person, we've only started talking to him about maybe 2 weeks ago. Um, so again, it just shows you who's responsible, who's ready, and who's actually willing to do business with you. And then having that full sort of dashboard and the reporting in the back end, it really puts us in the driver's seat, knowing what the business looks like. And one of the things that I've learned, I mean, I came at real estate from a software, from a sales background. One of the biggest things that I've always learned into, going into sales is like you always want to have at least some sort of a predictable revenue model. This allows us to have that predictability, allow us to know that, you know what, and maybe this month I'm going to be talking to that many people, I'm going to be closing that many deals. And that's one of the things that I don't see a lot in real estate is that folks knowing what their months, what their, next month is going to look like, the next 6 months is going to look like. This is the way to do it. It allows you to kind of have that sort of predictability. I know if I talk to 10 people about real estate this month, I'm going to be booking 2 appointments. And if I book 2 appointments, I'm going to close at least one deal. And that's the beauty of it is that we can also tweak it. We don't necessarily always have to go on a low budget. If we find, in the next couple of months, for example, we know that we're coming into the summer month, maybe it's a little bit less, we're not going to get a lot of traffic as much as we do in the spring. It's really just as simple as adding a little bit more to the budget so we can actually make up for those months. So when we're coming back into the fall market, it's already a nice bucket of opportunities available for us to kind of move forward. So without that, like without having sort of that predictability, I wouldn't want to be doing real estate. And this system allows for that predictability, allows for, the activities to be there to lead to that. One of the biggest things that I've learned as well too over the years is that, opportunities, activities breeds opportunities. By you doing the activity, you're going to see the opportunities coming in. And this allows for those steps to be taken. So we start off with the actual leads coming in. If that's kind of the tap, if the tap is open, you know exactly the amount of water you're going to be drinking. Same sort of analogy here. If the tap is open and you're getting the leads and you're working those leads, they're going to be closing. And it's only as good as you work it. So I can spend, $1,000 a month. I can spend $2,000 a month. And I see that quite often. In fact, we're a team of three here. We're only spending about $450 a month. It's not a lot of money, but when you think about it, it's that predictability, that sort of knowing that we're going to be working every single deal that comes in, every single lead that comes in. One of the things that I have in my team as well too, we implemented this sort of rule that if a lead comes in that first week, you've got to do between at least 12 to 17 touches. If at the end of the week that 17 touches are done and the lead is not booked, you're off the hook. I have no problem with it. But we're still gonna, have the system every now and then drip in or send them a quick little automated message to push them towards the academy or to bring them back with the retargeting. But you as the rep, you've already done your work for that 1 week. I guarantee you, though, if you're doing the 7 to 12 touches or 7 to 17 touches within the first week, you're going to have conversations. And that's one of the biggest things that I tell my guys. I'm like, show me your week. Tell me how is it going? Tell me what are you doing in terms of activities. Show me the calls, the texts, the emails. Great. Okay, we're doing those. Don't worry about it. You're gonna get the meetings. And the beauty about this is that you can also, with the recording, if your team is, if you're running a team or even yourself, if you want to kind of listen back to your call, you're able to kind of go back and go, yeah, I made a mistake here. I shouldn't have said that. It really a good way for you to kind of enhance that pitch, if you will. And obviously, the more you enhance the pitch, the better your closing ratio becomes, and you can, start booking more and more meetings and then moving it forward. It's only as good as you work it. As simple as I can get out of this.
Yeah.
You can spend $2,000 a month. You can spend $10,000 a month. If you're not going to work the leads, throw your money and kiss it goodbye. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. And I think you said
Other
it
than
best.
that,
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, no. I was going to say, other than that, Sean, like it's honestly, I would recommend to anyone to just at least have that conversation. Be prepared to put the hard work in. You don't do the work, you just don't do it. It's just a waste of money.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you said it best. Lead quality is one of the biggest issues in today's industry, right? And I think a lot of agents, they have a pipeline of leads coming in, but they don't know how to really differentiate quantity between quality. Right? And that's kind of, I think, the approach we took with you. And then the retargeting obviously is helping bring back people from the past as well. Now, one thing I know about you, Fady, you mentioned prior to us actually partnering up, you mentioned you've done lead gen quite a bit. You've worked with a ton of different companies. When you first heard about our approach, what stood out in comparison to other companies, even if in the time you might have been shopping around as well?
There was a couple of things that really just kind of struck me. It's like I've always been a big believer, especially in the last like 3 or 4 years. Everything's going video, everything is going in terms of people want to see you quite often, right? The academy allows for that. It allows for that sort of stickiness, and not only that, but it also gives the client that sense of like this agent is different. This company is completely different. They really care about education. They really care about letting me know um, and one of the biggest things that I find in real estate is like a lot of agents kind of hold their cards to their chest when it comes to information. I couldn't care less. I'm going to give you everything that you need. At the end of the day, I can give you all that information. It's just the how is what I've built for myself for the last 4 years. Is what's going to be taking you from no house to a full house, or and making sure that you have the appropriate, you check off all the boxes, you don't make any mistakes. So having that academy is going to show you everything, and it's actually going to make the client feel like, holy moly, there's a lot to learn here. Not only that, but like as much as I can learn it, it's all in bites, like in small little bite size. But at the end of the day, like this guy knows what he's talking about. The company that they're working with, it's all about education, and that's really where we're shining here. We're showing people that we're different. We're showing them that we don't necessarily care about them buying today, but it's about the long term. It's about educating more than anything. It's about making sure that they're empowered as well. If they decide to work with us, fantastic. They can get that information on YouTube. They can get that information anywhere. It's just what we're doing is we're putting it all together for them and giving it to them in a nice bite size that they can, you know. And having said that, one of the things that I've noticed as well too, and I've read this statistic somewhere, most people don't do business with you until they've seen you at least, and especially with YouTube and the advent of all of that stuff, they're normally consuming between 6 to 7 hours before they even talk to you. The academy is gonna allow you to do that, and it's gonna give you that ability to be able to just kind of be in front of the client more than once a day, and then they feel like they know you, they trust you, they already see how you talk, they see that the way you carry yourself, and the more genuine you are, and which it should be, because at the end of the day, like you're just sitting there in front of the camera, giving them the information they need, giving them the videos, they can relate to who you are. You're not going to win them all. That's we know that, but you're going to win at least 25 to 30% of those people that are coming in to take a look at it. That to me is a massive, massive number, especially if you're getting a good 25 to 30 leads a month, 50 leads a month. This is definitely going to be resulting in bringing in the results that you're looking for sure.
Awesome. And I know just before starting, you were on a little bit of a hiatus in terms of marketing, right? So what was kind of the biggest change that you noticed, either in like results or how you just feel running your business? Because I do know when we first began, it was a little bit less predictable with your business, and I'm not too sure what exactly the situation was, but I do remember you were at a completely different point. So what's been like the biggest change you've noticed since prior to starting versus now?
This is allowing me to also build a team, bring people on as well to coach them, show them, and become that sort of listing agent to, go out and really get the listing. And that's what I've been doing for the last, like, maybe a couple of years, is shifting my business more into the listing, more into the commercial. But I still want to deal with buyers, but I don't want to deal with buyers all the time. I want to deal with buyers on my own time. And this what this system allows me to do, is that I can pick and choose out of the leads that I'd like, which ones do I like better, and then the rest of them can go to the team. So I'm not necessarily wasting them. I'm still getting someone, it's basically buying back my time. The other thing too with it, which is also more important, is, and I'm going to say it again, buying back my time. I don't have to do door knocking. I don't have to do a ton of networking events. I don't have to do a ton of cold calling. It's really just they're coming to us. They're coming to us. They're very close to the buying cycle. Not all of them, but you are going to get a majority of them. Even if you get 25% to work with you, that's a lot.
Yeah. No, of course. Was there a specific moment where you realized, okay, like this is actually working or this is actually different?
Yeah, it's I realized that was actually like the first maybe couple of weeks when we start kind of seeing the leads and how they are, and like some of them started booking showings within about 2 weeks. Like that to me right away, that's like the light bulb just went off. Okay, like these guys are obviously in the sales cycle, they're pretty close. Um, the beauty about this is like they're just like anybody else. They start their search online, and when you have it on Facebook, it's and Facebook with the pixels and all of that, they're seeing that search, they're seeing what's going on. So the ad is getting pushed out to the people that have actually expressed interest somehow, showed some sort of love for real estate, or like they did some need for real estate, and it's just putting us up in the right moment. It's not like, for example, that random bus ad, which I love, by the way, don't get me wrong. It's a fantastic way to put your name out there, but it's not necessarily, there's no tracking on that. You're not really saying the value for that dollar that you're spending. You're not able to kind of monetize it or be able to put a dollar sign on it and say, if I spend this much, I'm getting this much. Here, I know if I'm getting 45 leads a month, 50 leads a month, I'm going to convert at least 25% of those into meetings. If I convert 25% of those into meetings, I'm going to be able to get 70% of those to become clients. If I'm getting 70% of those to become clients, I'm closing at least 50% of those deals. Simple as that. And that's the predictability of this. And if you're able to kind of go back with the reporting, you're able to go back and say that, okay, based on this, all I need to do is if I'm only closing 2 deals a month for my team, okay, I'm going to tweak it a little bit more and maybe put this much more into it in terms of the number of leads. And we know this because obviously we take a look at the cost per lead and what that all looks like. So if I'm spending 450 and I'm only getting, as an example, don't quote me on this, but Stan knows all the numbers and we discuss those on a couple of weeks, every couple of weeks or so. But let's say that was the case. I know that, okay, if I'm spending $7 on a lead to get, 10 more, I just got to spend another $70. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And then I know that, those seven or those 10 that I'm going to add, they're going to be, three or four of those are going to book. And then one of those is going to close. Simple as that.
Yeah. I think
It's
one of
really, this is predictability 101.
Yeah. And like one of the biggest things is probably most companies you've worked with in the past, and I mean, me as an agent as well, I've worked with tons of companies in the past. The biggest thing that most people really just focus on is the cost per lead, which kind of gets you lost in the entirety of ads, right? What we really focus on is the cost per acquisition side, which is exactly what you were mentioning. You know what your
Mhm.
cost per acquisition is, you put that much more into the pot, right? You expect that much more back. That's something that most agents don't know about in today's industry, and it's something that a lot of providers, if you want to call them that, don't really go ahead and do.
Yeah.
But I think one of the biggest things, Fady, was videos for sure. Now, like I know you were actually jumping into videos just before working with us as well. Right? So it's one thing that you've had, I think, that you wanted to start diving even deeper into. How has like the overall aspect of making videos, putting them out on your socials, how has that changed your business?
Significantly. Like, so I've been running a podcast, and it's sort of related to what I do because it's all about commercial, it's all about businesses and all of that. And then also side to that as well too, I do run my normal YouTube videos here and there. It's like once a week and I release a video talking a little bit more about informational more than anything. What's been happening is like every time I'm meeting with somebody, it's like, oh, you're the podcast guy. I've seen you on the podcast. It's just creating a little bit of a buzz. It's a different sort of atmosphere. People feel like they know you. Like when I go to a networking event or somebody, I've had it where like sometimes weirdly enough, like I'll be walking into a business and someone's like, I know you from somewhere. Like, oh yeah, I saw you on that podcast. Like it's just, you know what I mean? Like it's just giving you that sort of extra way to really cement yourself in front of a client and show them that you're a pillar of the community. And it's that sort of consumption that I talked about. People will consume at least 7 hours at least of your videos, especially with the shorts nowadays. They're even consuming even less. But they're actually trusting you within about 3 hours or so versus seven. But just being able to be right in front of them, especially with the attention span that we have, it's just creating that real estate in their mind in front of them. It's definitely changed my business significantly.
Awesome. And then just lastly here, I think you've provided a bunch of value. Obviously, working with you has been a pleasure because we're seeing how your team's implementing it. Every client we work with, they have different strategies on how they're actually going ahead and getting their clients to come in. But I think your guys' process has been absolutely spot on, especially with a team of three. You're honestly, you're spending typically what an individual agent would spend monthly, and you're seeing results for almost your entire team, which is something obviously that makes us happy as well. But
It's
overall,
accountability. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off on it,
yeah,
but
no,
it's
of course.
accountability for my team. Accountability is the biggest thing. I'm giving you those leads. You've got 7 days. In those 7 days, you better show me that you're done at least 17 touches. When you reach 17 touches, if you haven't booked it, I'm gonna give you a pass on it. It's not a problem. Just let it be. Let the academy run its course. Let the automation run its course. Move on to the next one.
Yeah,
So every week, Monday, I meet with you once every couple of weeks. Monday normally, I meet with them every Monday. We sit down. What are the leads that you've worked on? Where are you at with those leads? Tell me what's going on with the next week. How many of those leads are moving into conversation? Why are they staying into lead when they should be in conversation or they should be into working? What's the dollar sign on that lead? Because I want my team to also know that there's a dollar sign on every lead that comes in. And that dollar sign is really only up to you as a team member to move it into the process to get that dollar sign put into your pocket.
yeah. That's something I saw you were doing as well. I mean, in the CRM, you can add in the estimated amount of GCI you're gonna be bringing in per client or
Mhm.
deal volume. I saw that your team was also adding that, which does also drive internal motivation when they see that figure, right?
100%. And then also allowing those dashboards. I do want to empower my team. And one of the biggest things that we've talked about at the beginning is like, hey, Sean, I'd love for my team to have that dashboard, that ability to be able to see kind of where they're at in the process. Why? Because then it's a visual motivation for them to go, holy moly, I've got 7 people in that lead category. I better move them into conversation because I need to get things going. I don't think I have anything in the funnel for next month.
Yeah.
That's the kind of business that I'm talking about. And I keep talking about funnel. I'm a huge believer in a sales funnel and what that sales funnel looks like and why does it matter? Because it's all really at the end of the day, whether we like it or not. Yes, we are real estate agents. Yes, we sell homes. Yes, we sell businesses. Yes, we sell commercial real estate. At the end of the day, we're in sales, and in sales, your job is only to do two things. One is to lead generate, and then two is to move the needle forward. You move the needle forward, a bunch of those are going to fall off as we go down the funnel, but you will get somebody at the end of the funnel closing business with you. But you can't do that if you don't work the process.
Yeah, you got to definitely work the process, and that's something you guys have done really well at. Now, what would you, I mean, we're in a very trust-based industry right now. There's a lot of scams. I mean, I'm sure you've had your fair share of experience. I know I have with lead gen providers who promise you the world but underdeliver, right? What would
Mhm.
you really say to someone who's really thinking about joining with our team but still hesitating, obviously due to several factors, one being obviously online is a crazy industry. There's a lot of scams. But what would you really say to someone who's thinking about joining but still hesitating?
Honestly, I tell them run your own ads for a couple of months and see how it goes. You'll see there is people. Don't get me wrong. There's people that are going to go on Facebook. There's you're going to get some leads. Um, but if you get a taste of it, definitely you will talk to Sean, and obviously it makes total sense to run with you guys. The biggest thing that I've noticed here is that you guys had it perfect in terms of the process, in terms of the repeatable business that you've seen. You're doing it not just for me, but you're doing it to a bunch of other agents all across many markets within Canada and the States. And in fact, to get you to do it for me, I had to like get somebody to vouch for me from a different province to let you know because they actually told me about you, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try them out, and it's worth it. It is definitely worth it, but you have to be prepared to put the work in. If you're just thinking somebody's gonna hand you leads, it's just not gonna work. If you're thinking like, this is not an ISA for whatever reason, some people think it's like an ISA service. It's not. You are gonna be picking up the phone and call. If you're shy, if this is not your thing, just don't do it. You shouldn't be in real estate if that's the thing, because you need to pick up the phone, you need to call other agents, you need to call other offices, you do need to call mortgage brokers. You're supposed to be doing that phone anyways. If the phone scares you, you're in the wrong industry for sure.
Yeah, no, that's
But
something I can
if you
definitely.
work the system absolutely works.
Yeah. And that's something I like to tell every single agent, right? It's the system is there. What's that one analogy? I think you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make the horse drink the water, right?
That's
That's one of
exactly
the
it.
biggest things.
And the thing is here, there's a lot of clean water. There's a lot of good amount of water, and you can control it. Like I said at the beginning, it's a tap. You turn it on, you turn it off. You control the flow of that water as you see fit. So, for example, like you're coming into the really busy month, you might want to take the tap and turn it a little bit down because you don't want to be hosed down with it. You want to be able to function and do this properly. You coming into the slow month, you might want to increase it just a little bit before, not when you're 6 months into it and you're like for example, like I started this in January, which I know I should have started it actually. If it was up to me, I would have started it back in November, even though we were doing well. But I would have started in November just so I can get the system to ramp up a little bit, go through the slow month in December, January, February, which we kind of did, but a couple of months a little bit delayed, but that's fine. By the time it actually ramps up, we're looking at the full spring market here, and it's just phenomenal. You're doing things the way that they're supposed to be. So you can control that down. You can obviously bring yourself as the horse to the water, but nobody's going to make you drink unless you actually do the work. You still have to drink.
Exactly. And just lastly, if you had to describe working with our team in one word, Fady, what would it be and why?
It's a breeze. It's probably one of the best additions that I've done to my team this year, and I don't say this lightly. And one of the things that I've told Sean at the beginning is I don't want to be on a website of giving people recommendations and all of that unless it makes sense. This to me makes total sense. The honesty, the transparency is always there. And I see us continuing this relationship for a long time you know and I really appreciate the fact that we get on the call every now and then. It's once every couple of weeks or so. We can adjust the tap of how things are going, and then also take a look at the leads and the quality and things like that. And sometimes you and I have done where we're listening to calls ourselves to see it was the lead or is it ourselves, what can we tweak. And then that's what I do also with my team. I still go back and I actually listen to their calls just so I can help them in terms of like what are they doing.
Yeah. No, awesome. Well, Fady, I mean, with that being said, I honestly have had a pleasure working with you thus far. And as you said, I think there's definitely a long relationship to be had in here. Right? You guys are
Mhm.
killers with working the leads. I think your team's doing a great job. And I think just going beyond that, there's tons of other things that we can still go and implement, right? We're still just on the brink of even launching into everything we want to do, right? And once that all starts taking effect, I'm really excited to see the results we bring forward.
Amazing, man. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And looking forward to our next checkup in a couple of weeks.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Fady.